Right.
In case you forgot where you were.
In case you didn't know what this was.
Just in case. Congratulations on the film. It is an absolute gem and it's a joy to watch. What was it that drew you to Laurel and Hardy, in particular their later years?
Well, I'd always been a fan of Laurel and Hardy since I was a kid. There's a picture of me dressed as a 8-year-old Stan Laurel at the school fancy dress party. So the love affair has gone on for quite some time, but really the quality of the script, when I got sent the script by Jeff Pope, who had worked with Steve on Philomena, and I cried at the end, and I thought, what's a fantastic way to look at these two iconic characters, is looking at a time when they were very challenged. Because when you try to make a movie, you know, you look for conflict, you know, you look for conflict within the characters, and they had a lot of challenges in their latter life because they didn't have a lot of money, their star had fallen, they were trying to get another movie made. You know, there was several reasons that, you know, Stan had been married 5 times, Ollie had been married 3 times. There was all sorts of things in their latter life that led into this, and plus the fact that Ollie had done another movie with somebody else, and we threw that in the mix as well. So that's really the idea that we wanted to not do a standard biopic. You know, it was to play it for the most interesting part of their life.
And when it comes to the performance, it almost seems at times that the real Laurel and Hardy have been brought back to life.
Wow, thank you.
So how much research, I mean, how did you find your inner Laurel and Hardy?
Well, it was many different steps along the way. You know, first of all, we had a lot of help from our prosthetic designer, Mark Coulier, who helped us to look like him, and our costume designer, Guy Speranza. And then it was a process of kind of figuring out, like, you got the exterior, right? So I looked like him, and I was like, okay, I look like him. Why was he doing this? You know, like, where did this gesture come from? And where did these sort of mincing little romantic, you know, why was he doing that? Where did that come, you know? So there was like an investigation into the people behind the mask, you know? That's what led us there. And then a lot of rehearsal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's no simple answer, but to get there, it's about, really, Jon and I are in the eye of the storm, trying to get to a place where we feel like we're bringing them to life. But we have this team around us, it's a support team, which are of the very best people, whether it's Jon S here, making sure that, you know, the film is working and that we're not being inconsistent either with each other or our earlier scenes, and Toby Sedgwick, who told us how to move like clowns, the prosthetics guys, and the costume, and all those things, and then we have to sort of do a bit of stuff by ourselves, as it were, but with each other. So all those things come together, and then there's sort of a bit where you've got all the right equipment. You just have to complete that picture and try and just embellish it and bring them to life.
Were you daunted in any way tackling such an iconic?
Yeah, of course. There's big shoes to fill. I mean, these guys were not just characters that we were playing in the film. They were beloved characters in our own lives. Like, they had such an influence on us.
Yeah, a lot of people would be upset if we got it wrong.
Me first in line. You know, like I didn't want anything that we did with this film to detract from the legacy of Laurel and Hardy. I mean, the overall mission was to show, you know, some empathy to them as people, to show their relationship, to show this very melancholy kind of retrospective moment in their life towards the end of their careers. So luckily, you know, we had John Baird leading the charge, and making sure that even with the modest budget that we had a period perfect looking movie, that the makeup was done like a much bigger budget movie, that the legacy of Laurel and Hardy was protected and cared for. What we're trying to do is pass it on to the next generation too, you know?
Of course, and that's the lovely thing. I mean, in some ways, younger generations probably don't really know who they are anymore. But by this, really bringing them back, I presume that was quite an important thing for you all to do.
It certainly was. I think we're probably the last generation. We're a little older than you, I'm sure. And we're part of the television generation, where Laurel and Hardy's films were repeated quite a lot before social media and the technological boom that brought us all manner of different sort of platforms. it was just TV. So we were all intimately familiar with Laurel and Hardy, and that sort of faded somewhat, and that which Jon and I both feel is a shame, and so this is was part of the effect that we wanted to have, is that this would sort of shine a light on these two guys.
I believe you have a watch that's somehow significant to Laurel and Hardy.
This was given to me. Well, Steve also got one.
I got one. Mine's in my case.
From the Sons of the Desert, which is the worldwide Laurel and Hardy fan club. They gave us these beautiful little pocket watches with the boys on it. Mwah.
Gorgeous thing to have.
Yeah.
And
I keep it right next to my belly.
when it comes to the comedy, people think that comedy looks very easy on screen, but obviously actually getting into those roles and the dancing, that's not an easy thing to achieve. Like, how difficult was it to do that?
Well, it's just, it's hard work, but it's only hard work like rehearsing anything, or it's just you have to put the hours in and just practice. So it's hard in that respect.
Well, I mean, if I was going to play Rudolf Nureyev, I could practice. I would never be like Rudolf Nureyev.
Weirdly, I would go and see that movie.
Yeah, so repetition was the key to it. You know, that's what they did. They were music hall and vaudevillians before they even got into the movies, so they had those skills, that craft.
You know, and the other thing, of course, is that with Jon and I, when we were rehearsing, we got to know each other, and that helped us. The closer we got as friends and collaborators, we knew that exponentially the movie would benefit from that.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. It really is. It's a beautiful job.
Oh, cheers. Thank
And
you.
look for my Rudolf Nureyev film.
I will. I look forward to seeing that.